Inherently, within you, intuitively, you know there's more time for what really matters to you. And the only question is, how do you get there? Well, you won't get there by making a to-do list every day. You won't get there even by making a nice list of values or even a mission statement that you read once or twice a week, or maybe you never read again, or once a month. You need a way of thinking that gets you associated, gets you to feel what's most important, gets you to focus on what's most important, and makes it something you do every single day so that you move towards what you want. So you spend time where you want to live, not by the demands of the environment that will constantly cause you to live in reaction and cheat you out of what you really deserve in your life. Hey, let's stop for a second and ask ourselves a question most people don't ask. And that is, what is time? I mean, what is it really? What is it to you? Think about it this way. Time is only one thing really for a human being, for you and I. Time is emotion. It's a feeling. That's all it is. It's a way of looking at the moment, a way of looking at life that gives you an emotional state. In fact, haven't you had times where time flew, or where time didn't even exist for you? You were so associated, you were feeling so good, you were so enthralled with what you were involved with, that time literally stopped. I mean, you had no experience of time. In fact, at some point, maybe that activity stopped and you went, oh my God, look at the time. I can't believe it. Where did time go? And then you've also had times where a minute feels like an eternity. Like when you're standing in line someplace and someone's trying to get their credit card checked or something, right? I mean, think of the times where you're like, oh, if this meeting goes another 30 seconds, I'm gonna kill somebody. I mean, the bottom line is time is completely driven by emotion. There are lots of people who have an experience of unbelievable amounts of time, and they got the same time you and I do, who walk around sometimes feeling stressed. I don't know if you feel that way, but my guess is if you bought this, you're an achiever. That's where I used to live. I used to be there every day, saying, oh my God, I don't have time, I don't have time. And I make myself nuts, and every once in a while I return there, and I catch myself. So we're gonna help you come up with a life plan that'll allow you to create a balance where all the areas of your life work together. And you say, oh, that's impossible. Well, a lot of things I've been teaching throughout the years, people said were impossible initially, and if you've been to any of my programs, you know my whole goal in life is to show people have an experience of doing things they thought were impossible, because that's where the freedom is. The freedom comes in when you liberate yourself from limitation, when you liberate yourself from a psychology that keeps you from having what you deserve. And I'll tell you, the good news is there is a power, there is a tool that is so simple that the minute you engage it, you instantaneously can change the quality of your life. I mean, in a heartbeat, the minute you employ it, and it's something you already do, but maybe not consciously. And so you may not be using it to its fullest extent, and I'd be willing to guess you haven't, because I've had the privilege in the last 21 years of my life to be with people from 65 countries, over 2 million people, from every walk of life, from parents to presidents of nations, literally, from people that are struggling to the most successful people in the world in terms of their impact and what they contribute. But I want to tell you something, you don't have to be a genius when you've been with that many people for that many years to see there are patterns. There's patterns of what certain people do that make them happy, fulfilled, and successful. And there are patterns that people do who have every reason to be happy, who make themselves sick inside. And they're not that difficult, and they're not that complex. What I want to do with teaching you this RPM life management system is teach you more than a planner. Because you could say, oh, this looks like any planner. I got a calendar and I got an A through Z list. Yeah, but that's not it. It's not a computer software piece. Those are great little tools, but the ultimate tool is the thinking process that causes you to succeed and be fulfilled. And let me tell you the basis of that, one fundamental principle that you know, and that is the power of focus. What you focus on, you feel, whether it's true or not. Have you ever been inside your head and you thought somebody did something to really hurt you, and you were so mad because you focused, you kept picturing your mind, kept thinking about how could they possibly do this to me, and you felt all this anger, all this frustration, all this hurt inside, and then later on found you were dead wrong, that they weren't even slightly trying to harm you, that you just misinterpreted the whole thing? How'd you feel? Kind of silly, right? Maybe a little stupid, a little embarrassed. But you know what? In the moment you focused and you thought this person did something to hurt you, you were hurt inside, weren't you? The same thing is true. I've watched people come to Fiji, or I have this incredible resort, and I watch people on the first day, man. They get here, they've been on a plane, they're caught up in their old world, you know, they're thinking about their to-do lists and all the things they gotta do, and oh my God, I came here for vacation, but all these things I gotta do, and they're all stressed out. Within a few days, they start looking at birds, you know, and it's like their whole life changes. You know, they look out at the ocean, they're staring at the ocean and going, oh my God, and they start to breathe again. They start to think about what matters in their life. And someone says hello and they say hello back and they mean it. It's like all of a sudden their focus changes and their feelings change. Their life changes. And I can also see people, and I see them all the time, they come to me, some of the most successful people in the world. I've had the privilege of coaching. And whether it be a professional athlete, an Andre Agassi, a Greg Norman as a golfer, or the President of the United States, I've had the privilege now of working with all those. I don't say that's drop names, I say it just tell you that I've really had a chance to see those who supposedly are the most successful on earth at what they do. And I've also seen people in the most challenging times of their life when they're ready to commit suicide. I tend to enter people's lives at intense levels. When people are in that mediocre middle level, when they're not really happy, but they're not unhappy enough to do anything about it, rarely do I show up in their life. You're probably listening to this program because you're either unbelievably successful and you're looking for the edge, or you're really saying, man, this is winter and I'm sick of it. I want to get myself in the fall where I can reap some rewards. I'm sick of this place. I'm sick of the night. I want some daytime. I want some summer. I want some sunshine in my life. I'm looking for an answer. I am sick and tired of my to-do list and having more to do than I possibly can and not feeling fulfilled and feeling stressed and saying I'm successful. What for? Am I making any sense? So what I really want to give you then is this way of just identifying what is your natural ability. This whole program is not rocket science. It's what you already do when you're at your best. But what I'm going to do is give you some words, like some labels for it, so that now you can consistently get those results. That when you're in the flow and things are just going so well and you feel so happy, or ideas are just flowing through you and you go, man, this is amazing. I don't know how I did that, but that was amazing. I'd like to be able to do that again. That all comes from putting yourself in a certain state of mind, a state of emotion. And the first way to get in that state, that flow, is to change your focus. See, focus changing, when you make that change in focus, instantaneously you can move yourself from being totally depressed to euphoria, literally in a millisecond. Whether you're succeeding at what you're doing right now in your job, in your career, in your personal life, with your children, is a huge reflection of what are you focusing on in those areas of your life, or are you even focusing on it? See, whether you succeed or fail to a great extent, is all your focus going in your job at the expense of your personal life in some way? Is the focus going into your spirituality, but you're not taking care of your body, the temple that it all is functioning through? See, when we don't know how to consciously direct our focus, we pay a price. It really determines, are you stressed or fulfilled? It has little to do with what you're doing or even the results you're getting, honestly. Because some people are getting great results and they're still unhappy. And there's some people who have so little in their life and things that they could be so frustrated about, and they're feeling great. I'll give you an example. Recently, I went to a spa and I thought, I've got to create some balance here. And I was looking at my management system for my life. And I said, you know what? I've put a lot of focus in some areas. I haven't taken enough time just to relax, take care of my body. So I decided to go to a spa. And while we're there, I met this lady that was so vibrant. She was like the life of the party at the entire spa. Stood out, everybody loved her, really great lady. So one day we're sitting in the spa and we're talking back and forth. And I was talking to her about her goals and why she came there. We were all kind of sharing that. And she said, well, honestly, I'm here because I have a brain tumor. And she said, the doctors tell me I'm going to die within 90 days. And I looked at her and I couldn't even believe it. I said, how in the heck do you stay so happy? What is it you're doing? Because my whole life is, when I see someone who's doing something successfully, I believe success leaves clues. I believe people are not lucky. If somebody's incredibly happy in spite of huge challenges, there is a reason. And if somebody is totally depressed in spite of great opportunity, there is a reason. There's not something just striking them. People tell me all the time, well, it's this depression, it's a biochemical thing, it's just striking me down. Let me tell you something, everything is biochemistry. You can change your biochemistry in a heartbeat by changing what you focus on, by the way you breathe, by the way you move. And it's not just something in your body. Your body is not something separate from you, but it starts with how you feel, how you focus. And so when I talked to this one with a brain tumor, I said, how do you do this? And she said, well, Tony, I do what you teach. And I said, really? And she said, yes, I've listened to all your tapes, and it was really a nice compliment. But I said, well, that's great, but tell me how you've applied it. She said, it's all focus. She said, listen, I know that if I focus on dying every single day, there's no hope for me. And if I focus on living my life to the absolute fullest every single day, number one, I got joy right now. I believe it's not only how long I live, it's how I live. I don't want to bend over and fall over, and you know what? I'm feeling better and I'm feeling stronger. And I'm doing my own approach. And whether I live or die long term, who knows if it's 90 days? I'm going to live fully while I'm here. I thought, and most people are stressed out because they can't get their super taco quick enough out of Jack in the Box. They're stressed out. And here's this woman got a brain tumor and she's joyous. I thought, man, you have no problems. If you're walking and breathing and you don't have a terminal illness, you got no problems. If you've got a terminal illness, it's only terminal if your mindset is as well. Because you can live right now today. Focus is the ultimate power that our Creator has given us that can change the way we think, the way we feel, and what we do in a moment. You change that focus, you change your life. RPM, this life management system, is a tool for consistently focusing on what you want instead of what you fear. It's gonna pull you in the place that not only gets you better results, but along the way, you'll be feeling more of that joy and that passion, and excitement, and that fulfillment that comes with being on the path and having a sense of certainty because you're focusing on what you want instead of what you fear. I mean, listen, of all the people I've had the privilege of spending time with in my life, the one that I probably respect the most above all people, and that's saying a lot, is Nelson Mandela. I mean, I was so excited to meet him as my ultimate hero because I thought, how does a human being get locked up for 27 years of their life and not become totally evil? I mean, you would expect it. You'd expect him to want to kill every white person. I mean, I think I would want to in his position. Anybody. To unfairly, to unjustly steal a quarter of a century of your life and to be able to come out and say, hey guys, listen, let's focus on how to help the country. What an incredible soul. What an extraordinary man. But he's an extraordinary man because he has an extraordinary psychology, extraordinary way of thinking. He does not focus on the past. He's not focused on the hurt. He's not focused on his to-do list. He focused on ultimately what is most important. And when I talked to him, I said, how did you make it through those 27 years? I mean, how did you suffer through that? And I actually used the word suffer, and he looked at me and he said, I didn't suffer. I prepared. I thought, what a different point of view, what a different point of focus. He said, I was preparing myself. He said, sooner or later, one of two things would happen, I was certain. I focused on how could I make myself a better leader every day? What could I think about? What could I read? What could I do? Because sooner or later, one of two things would happen. Either I would die in prison, and that would inspire my fellow men to do whatever it takes to change our country and make it fair for all people. He said, or I would live, and once I got out, I would be able to lead my nation and lead it well. I thought, that's power. You want power? You want joy? You want passion? More money won't do it. Get more money, then you get to focus and worry about whether the IRS will take it, whether somebody will sue you, whether or not you make it through this time. Whether it's enough. It used to be the ideal amount. Now, most people have got more money than they originally thought they'd have, and now they're still stressed out, right? It's just a change in focus.